MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asim.
Each night on Prime Time, we don't just bring you the news. We lead it with responsibility, asking the toughest questions, breaking the biggest stories, setting the national agenda. At the Republic School of Journalism, you learn how to front the news with clarity, confidence, and conviction. The RSJ Diploma program begins on the 30th of June. Your Prime Time starts here.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Very good evening, viewers. You're watching this latest edition of 6 Stories at 6, and I'm Rakta Mishra with you. And we have a power-packed bulletin lined up for you. First, we start with the war in West Asia. The latest coming in from the Israel-Iran conflict that's only escalating. West Asia is on the edge. Live reports, ground reports from West Asia. Next, of course, will be part of the same story, that is how Israel has struck another nuclear facility in Iran. We'll tell you details on that. And next up will be the bonhomie that is brewing between Donald Trump and Asim Munir. What has really happened? What is the quid pro quo deal between the two? We will decode that for you. Also, the airlines, of course, are facing turbulence. Flights cancelled, technical snags reported. The same story every day. Passengers have been left in the lurch. Story number 5, viewers, is from Canada. It finally admits in a report that it has been a safe haven for the Khalistani terrorists, and their nefarious plot also exposed and admitted by the Canadian state. And finally, we get you the crackdown on the criminals in Uttar Pradesh that continues. The latest updates and ground reports on Operation Langra, viewers. All right, we start with the top story. We're tracking for you, viewers. An Iranian missile hit the main hospital in southern Israel early today. This is the hotel where the Israeli soldiers are being treated. There's extensive damage. People have been wounded in this area that we are talking about, and we're going to show you the visuals of the same. And meanwhile, Israel is retaliating by hitting the nuclear facilities and civilian infrastructure as well. The strike, you can see Iranian missile landing on the hospital in Beersheba in southern Israel, and there are many people who have been injured also. This is the largest hospital, one of the largest hospitals, and the strike on Soroka Hospital marked a significant escalation in targeting the civilian medical facilities, with Israeli media showing footage of blown out windows, heavy black smoke billowing from the medical complex. Iran launched this 14th wave of attacks on Israel this morning, firing more than 25 missiles in the latest barrage aimed at strategic targets across the country. It also struck the stock exchange building in Ramat Gan, east of Tel Aviv, and it was hit by the Iranian ballistic missile. And so far, there are no reports of any casualties in this attack. Several videos, however, have surfaced online showing the damage caused to the building. In another set of visuals, we're going to show how more civilian areas have been damaged in Holon city of Israel. And in fact, schools have been struck, residential buildings have been destroyed. Now, Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, has meanwhile threatened Iranian top leader Ayatollah Khamenei after latest strikes. He has also said that Khamenei should cease to exist. He should not continue to exist. So viewers, we'll just help you understand where has this firefighting reached. If we talk about the latest, the Soroka Medical Center has been attacked, 1,000-bed hospital, and Israeli soldiers who are injured in this firefighting have been also treated over here. This was clearly a targeted attack by the Iranians in Beersheba. This is a 1,000-bed hospital that has been attacked. This is the Soroka Medical Center. We can go on to the next target by the Iranians. This is a hospital extensively damaged, and this is 200 to 300 kilometers away from Beersheba. This is several people have been injured, viewers, in this, and there are visuals of even babies who have been injured. They were being evacuated from that hospital. That's the largest there, and many people have also been injured. And in fact, viewers, let's take a listen in to what Katz, the Defense Minister of Israel, had said as he talks about this heinous attack on civilian areas and the warning against the leadership of Iran.
אנחנו קבענו את יעדי המלחמה להסיר איום גרעיני, איומי השמדה ולסכל את איומי הטילים, ובתוך הדבר הזה צה"ל נלחם ויודע שכדי להשיג את כלל המטרות, בהחלט האיש הזה לא צריך להמשיך להתקיים. אנחנו קבענו את יעדי המלחמה להסיר איום גרעיני, איומי השמדה ולסכל את איומי הטילים, ובתוך הדבר הזה צה"ל נלחם ויודע שכדי להשיג את כלל המטרות, בהחלט האיש הזה לא צריך להמשיך להתקיים.
In fact, viewers, Republic is also reporting from Holon in Israel from the damaged residential building. Let's take a look at this ground report.
I'm currently in a residence house in Holon, and you can see the scale of destruction that this house has gone through. You can look up, see above my head to see the amount of destruction that this house has seen from a nearby rocket that fell right across the street, an Iranian rocket this morning at 7 o'clock. The house is completely destroyed. The citizens have to evacuate from this house and go to another location because it's unlivable. Let me show you some of the visuals from this house at the moment. So this is how the house looks right now. Completely destroyed. There's a bed as well, and you can see how much of the suffering that people have to go through here because the house here, if you look, everything is destroyed. Because of the rocket. The rocket fell right across the street there. Right across the street it fell. And currently, this entire place is in shambles. The residents, the pets, everybody has to evacuate the house. The windows are gone. And everything around this house is completely destroyed.
So this conflict has clearly taken a dangerous turn with Israel's tit-for-tat strike. In fact, both of them exchanging this firepower, and they have struck now the Iranian nuclear facility. Israel has targeted the Arak nuclear reactor in Iran overnight and struck what it said was a nuclear weapon development site in the area of Natanz. And among its nuclear sites, Iran had a partially built heavy water research reactor called Arak. It's now called Khanab as well. And the Israeli military adds that it targeted the structure of the reactor's core seal in Arak, which it identifies as a key component in plutonium production. Now, plutonium is also used for manufacturing those nuclear weapons, viewers, and henceforth it becomes a very important site for the Israelis. Now, I will show you this attack, how the airstrikes were conducted. There you see, viewers, we are just playing out this region. Viewers, this is more than 200 kilometers away from Tel Aviv. You can see this is the Arak nuclear site. And you can see Israel is launching the missiles from here, and the reactor construction that is in fact very old. It's around, it's less than 30-year-old, but it's almost 2.5 decades. And it was intended for weapons-grade plutonium. Which of course Iran continues to deny. It also says there's no reaction, but the IAEA, remember, has also confirmed that Israel has struck the reactor. Project never completed. The strike targeted component intended for plutonium production. So plutonium, again, as I mentioned earlier, is a very important is very important as far as the manufacturing of nuclear weapons is concerned. And if we talk about the Natanz facility, the Israeli Air Force also struck the nuclear weapon development site in Natanz as well. Fordo, of course, remains a matter of speculation. That is very difficult to breach a nuclear facility. It is underground, so there has been no strike on Fordo yet. But Natanz and Arak become very, very important as far as Israel's quest to in fact, finish Iran's nuclear program is concerned. Natanz also used for nuclear weapons development. So Israel continues to strike at the nuclear facilities and even the missile launch pads, all the weapon manufacturing systems as well. In fact, my colleague Nick is now joining us live on the broadcast from Tel Aviv in Israel. Now, Nick, this is we understand that Arak is also a nuclear facility, at least what Israel is saying. It is used for the production of plutonium, and now it has struck the facility. There's a huge plume of smoke that we can see billowing out. So this, of course, becomes a very, very important development as far as the Israeli operation is concerned. Number two, the Israelis have once again, Israel Defense Minister has, he's warned Khamenei that the supreme leader of Iran must not continue to exist. This is, again, a dire warning that has been sent out by Israel.
Yes, correct. Israel already proved that it can eliminate leaders of terror group or terror countries anywhere around the world. And they did it with the leaders of the proxies of Iran, like Hezbollah and Hamas. And also they took out some of the leaders of Houthis, another proxy of Iran in Yemen. And of course, they can do the same to Iran. Iran is considered to be the head of the axis of evil that are trying to destroy the Jewish land, the Jewish state for many years. And Israel understands that one of the things that works the best is to eliminate the head of the snake. But Donald Trump, the president of the United States, still believes or thinks that maybe there could be some kind of agreement before it will be too late for the so-called supreme leader of Iran and also for his regime, the Islamic Revolution Guards that took control over Iran by power in '79. And since then, many Iranians don't want to live under this regime, which doesn't allow to regular people to be and to do what they want. They need to keep the Islam, and they need to do a lot of stuff that many of them don't want. And that's why Iranians, I believe, many of them will be happy if the next leadership will be different.
Right, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and giving us more reports from Tel Aviv. Now we will shift our focus to this meeting between Donald Trump and Asim Munir. US President praised Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir for his so-called role in preventing an escalation of the conflict between India and Pakistan post-Pahalgam, as he hosted Asim Munir for a lunch meeting at the White House, viewers. Now, you've seen, viewers, there's been a pattern to Donald Trump as he continues to claim that he has been at the forefront of striking these peace deals. Now, you see what happened with Russia and Ukraine. He said, and I quote, "We'll end Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours of return to power." Nothing of that sort has happened. It's been months that Donald Trump has taken over for a second time as the President of the United States, and the war in Ukraine still continues. There was no result. Now, he's also claimed he stopped the war between India and Pakistan. India, clearly, Prime Minister Modi, in fact, has told Donald Trump, he set the record straight that no one has meddled, no one has mediated, and there's no requirement of any sort of mediation. He talked similar lines about Israel and Palestine as well. He said that they were looking for a real end to Israel-Iran also. In Palestine also, he was talking about how he gives an ultimatum to the Hamas terrorists to release the hostages in 24 hours. Nothing of that sort happens. And now we see in Iran conflict right now as we speak, there is only escalation despite Trump, issuing many, many warnings to Khamenei. Now, viewers, let's take a listen to what Donald Trump has said because we've seen Donald Trump promising a world time and again where peace would reign. And he has always talked about why wars should not take place. And he's also always posed himself as the biggest peacemaker. Listen into Donald Trump.
In your meeting today with the Chief of Staff of the Pakistani Army, did you talk about Iran? Did that come up? Is there anything you can share from that meeting?
Yeah. Well, they know Iran very well, better than most. And they're not happy about anything. It's not that they're bad with Israel. They know them both, actually, but they probably, maybe they know Iran better. But they see what's going on, and he agreed with me. The reason I had him here, I wanted to thank him for not going into the war, just, ending the war. And I want to thank, as you know, Prime Minister Modi just left, just a little while ago, just left. And we're working a trade deal with India. We're working a trade deal with Pakistan. And they were both here. But I was with Modi a few weeks ago. He was here, actually. But now we speak to him. And I'm so happy. There was a deal that two smart people, plus, they have people on their staff too, but two very smart people decided not to keep going with that war. That could have been a nuclear war. Those are two nuclear powers, big ones, big nuclear powers, and they decided not. So I was honored to meet him today.
Now, this is the same Donald Trump, viewers, who had promised a world where peace would reign, a future where wars would end and global tensions would ease. But as we look around today, the reality paints a very, very different picture under his leadership and now his campaign. What we are witnessing is a far cry from the peace he had vowed to deliver. Instead, we do see escalating wars, fractured alliances, and continued global instability. So where is the peace that Mr. Donald Trump had promised? Where is the world he said he would play a major role in uniting? Watch this report to understand more.
Donald Trump promised a world of peace, but what we are seeing under his leadership is far from what he had promised. It wasn't a one-off statement. It was a major plank of his presidential campaign.
I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
One of Trump's signature promises was to end the war in Ukraine. At the 2024 debate, he said this.
We'll have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. And it will take me no longer than one day.
Nearly 2 years into the conflict, the war rages on. Trump's promises weren't limited to Ukraine. He pledged to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Yet, as we watch the violence escalate between Israel and Hamas, his words fall flat. Trump is once again using war rhetoric, calling for unconditional surrender from Iran.
Two very simple words, very simple, unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it, I give up, no more. Then we go blow up all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. We'll see. The next week is going to be very big, maybe less than a week, maybe less.
A far cry from the peacemaker he promised to be.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
To make matters worse, Trump is now trying to take credit for something he never accomplished. He claims to have stopped a potential war between India and Pakistan.
But I stopped the war between Pakistan and India. This man was extremely influential in stopping it from the Pakistan side, Modi from the India side, and others. And they were going at it, and they're both nuclear countries. I got it stopped. I don't think I had one story. Did I have one story written about it? I stopped a war between two major nations, major nuclear nations.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा।
But this too is nothing but a cover-up and a convenient lie to distract from the fact that his promises on peace have remained just that of promises. For all his talk of peace, Trump's time in office, both the first term and now his campaign, is marked not by resolution but by the perpetuation of conflict. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Viewers, we have some big breaking news coming in right now. This is an update coming in on the biggest aviation tragedy in the history of the country, viewers. And this is a latest statement that is coming in right now from the Air India CEO. And what we know is that the Air India CEO is saying that the crashed Dreamliner was well maintained. He's talking about the flight Ahmedabad to London, AI 171. He said, and I quote, the plane was well maintained with its last major check in June 2023 and the next schedule for December 2025. So he says the last major check was 2 years ago. Its right engine was overhauled in March 2025, left in April 2025. All right, we have some more breaking news coming in right now. While Air India continues to now what's happened is that another flight has been turned back. This is AI 388. This is Air India 388 Delhi, Vietnam, which turned back mid-air. The reasons of the technical slack have not emerged yet. Emergency slide. We know that emergency slide of the aircraft was expired. Also, the gas canister which makes the slide deploy had also expired. And this has been discovered mid-air somehow. Harsha joins us live on the broadcast, getting us all the latest update. Harsha, while we see on one hand the Air India CEO is telling that there was a check that happened 2 years ago. Major check happened, AI 171 2 years ago. The other checks have happened recently. And as we speak, there's another update of a flight that has been reverted back mid-air.
Yes, Rakshita, there has been a message from CEO Campbell Wilson just a minute ago where he was stated, where he has mailed each and every passenger of Air India by stating that inspection has been done. We are following inspections. There's no technical snag. Cancellations are happening because of the closed airspace. But this particular aircraft information we broke in the afternoon. It was the Delhi Vietnam flight of Air India which turned back mid-air. And Rakshita, it was a major concern. We were speaking that time also. The major concern with the flight was that this aircraft was unfit to fly. That pilot in command told the ATC mid-air, and after 1:45, this particular aircraft departed from Delhi. After 20 to 30 minutes back, it made a U-turn mid-air. While it was airborne, it came back to Delhi in 45 minutes. Now we are getting to know that the major technical snag in this aircraft was that the emergency slide of this particular aircraft was expired. The gas canister, which is important to deploy the emergency slide, that was not working. Imagine the emergency door has a slide, and whenever there's an emergency situation, once the emergency door is opened, at that time the slide automatically opens. And in this case, the slide of the emergency door had completely expired.
Why, Harsha, it happened? It is discovered mid-air is the question. The even worse thing is that it is being discovered mid-air. Like that's something that we find our heads to wrap around our heads. It's very difficult to understand what's the logic of these checks happening mid-air. The flight has to be called back. Thank you so much, Harsha, for joining us with that update coming in on the aviation crisis in the country. Viewers, we continue to get you more updates. Right now, it's time for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Live and breaking on the other side.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
बिबल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. we will damn well go in for it. And as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are after all not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-upmanship, Pakistan had to suffer that humiliation, and the United States was not able to save it. Now for the United States to align itself back with Pakistan, I think would be a tragic mistake. I am very certain that there is enough computation power in the United States, in its think tanks, in its administration, to work out the vis-a-vis value of relationships with India or with Pakistan, right? And if the United States chooses India over Pakistan, it's welcome to its choice. Pakistan is a failing state. It's almost a failed state. It's on the brink of failure. It is a state in economic chaos and turmoil. It is a state where the military overspends to the extent of destroying the state, destroying its economic basis.
תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה על שלי.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يابا.
רימונה! הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
שמע פעם הבאה. מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה זה שמע לך?
תבוא לתרד. מה?
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה? תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead
Getting a breaking news development, AI 388, flight AI 388, the Delhi Vietnam Air India flight has turned back mid-air and returned to Delhi. Technical snag is said to be the reason, and that is an expired emergency slide that caused the flight to return. Expired safety gear led to Air India flight 388, which was en route to Vietnam, to make a U-turn and come back. The emergency slide of the aircraft was expired. Also, the gas canister, which makes the slide deploy, had expired. It's surprising that the flight was allowed to take off, and this technical issue was found midway. Expired emergency slides, technical snag, yet another incident involving Air India. Remember, we have seen a spate of such safety incidents which have made flights either getting cancelled or returning from mid-air, as is happening in this case. Day before yesterday, we had a Hong Kong Delhi flight return back to Hong Kong, and now Air India AI 388 Delhi Vietnam flight coming back. We have Harsha joining us over the phone, and she's joining us live. Harsha, is the flight safely back, and how come this technical fault was found mid-air and not before takeoff?
Abhishek, right now I'm in Ministry of Civil Aviation only. Just now I got to know the report which the Air India has sent to MOCA and to the DGCA regulators, which they clearly stated that the flight at 1:45 p.m. which took off from Delhi for Vietnam, after 45 minutes being airborne, the pilot noticed that there's some issue with the emergency door. At that time, he got to know, he immediately informed ATC that this aircraft is unfit to fly. Immediately, the aircraft turned back and landed in Delhi at around 3:10 p.m. At around 3:10 p.m. what we've got to know. And the prelim report which has been given by Air India to DGCA, it has stated that there was a slide was expired. The emergency door slide was expired in this particular aircraft. The gas canister which is responsible to deploy this slide was expired, and this aircraft therefore was unfit to fly. The major concern, Abhishek, here is that yesterday Air India stated that line checks are done. Whenever the plane takes off, line checks are done. If line check was done in this particular aircraft, then how come the major error was showcased in the aircraft mid-air? And there's a huge concern, heavy concern, and Ministry has also asked for a response for Air India regarding this particular aircraft. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Harsha, with those details. So on that note, we have just take a quick short break, coming back on the other side with more on Air India's issues with safety. And by-poll voting held in 5 assembly seats. Details on the other side.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead the American F-35 stealth fighters. The simple fact is that the United States is not offering us transfer of technology. It will not share the source codes, which we found a problem with the Rafales. We could not mount our indigenous beyond visual range Astra missiles and BrahMos cruise missiles on the Rafale because they did not share the source codes, and therefore we suffered. We paid a heavy price for these aircraft, and yet we could not use them to the optimum because of that unwillingness to share source code. So the same problem, and in a more magnified form, will come with the American F-35s. The American F-35s come with a huge price tag, number one. Number two, the maintenance costs are terribly high because stealth paint gets eroded. It has to be repainted, recoated. Most of the time these will be in hangar. And the other fact is that India will have limited control over these planes because America would want to know where they are being based, where they are being sighted. It will want oversight. Where they are being used, America will have vetoes. So it would be very strange if we can't use them against Pakistan. What the hell are we buying the planes for then? India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are, after all, not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-upmanship, Pakistan had to suffer that humiliation, and the United States was not able to save it. Now, for the United States to align itself back with Pakistan, I think would be a tragic mistake. I am very certain that there is enough,
Welcome back, friends. Moderate turnout marked by polls in 5 assembly seats across Punjab, West Bengal, Gujarat and Kerala. Voting began at 7 a.m. with incidents of tension in the Bengal seat. Key contests and political stakes remain high ahead of June 23 results. Nilambur in Kerala recorded 70% turnout. I believe Ashwin is joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram. Ashwin, seems like a prestige battle for the Gandhis, Nilambur being part of the seat from where Priyanka Gandhi is the Lok Sabha MP, if I'm correct, and highest turnout there?
Absolutely, 70.26 is the correct number that has come forward in a very closely contested fight where there are 232,000 plus voters, with an average of 113,000 men voters, remaining women. What needs to be seen in this election is the way, is whether this will turn the way to the left or to the Congress-led UDF. Certainly, there is this, there is a lot of commotion also that has happened. There have been small fights that have occurred between the LDF and the UDF. But the high voter turnout certainly seems to be that it is something that has come out. It will be an anti-incumbency for sure. And in a four-corner fight, this is certainly going to be an interesting outcome that is going to come in the days to come on June 23rd.
Thank you, Ashwin. From Kerala, we go to Gujarat, where Gopi is reporting live from Ahmedabad. Gopi, 2 seats in Gujarat that have gone to by polls. Kadi in North Gujarat and Vesavadar in Saurashtra. What is the latest you can share about the 2 seats?
Well, in fact, it is a triangular battle, as we know, that from Vesavadar is in fact, very crucial seat, as the former Gujarat President of Aam Aadmi Party, Gopal Italia, is contesting from there. While what we understand as of now is over 55% of voter turnout has already happened till 5 p.m. It is going to rise till 60%. While prominent faces like Nitin Patel have voted from the Kadi seat, which you've just mentioned. But yes, over 1.20 lakh partidars have voted from the Vesavadar seat. It's a triangular battle between BJP, Congress and Aam Aadmi Party on both the seats. Back to you.
Right, Gopi, both the seats once were represented by BJP stalwarts, Keshubai Patel in the case of Vesavadar and of course Nitin Patel in the case of Kadi. Different kinds of Patels. Moving on for now to Ludhiana and Ludhiana West seat from where Aam Aadmi Party has fielded its Rajya Sabha member and that's significant. Sanjeev Arora, if I'm correct. Lalit, what's the latest from Ludhiana on the bypoll?
If we talk about the Ludhiana West elections, the stakes are very much high for the Aam Aadmi Party as they have to retain its seat. And if you talk about the contest, it's a triangular contest as BJP is playing a very important role in which in the past 1.5 week, top leadership of the BJP could be seen campaigning. So it's a triangular contest and it would be a litmus test for the Aam Aadmi Party to retain the seat. But if you talk about the Congress also, Bharat Bhushan Ashu, a 2-time MLA and the former cabinet minister, is also giving a tough fight on this seat. Till 5 p.m., the voting percentage is roughly around 49%, and it seems that around the voting percentage would be around 54 to 55%.
Okay.
But yes, it's a triangular contest. Back to the studio.
Triangular contest, but at the same time prestige battle and a likely route for Arvind Kejriwal to come to Rajya Sabha in case Arora wins. Moving on for now. Thank you so much, Ashwin, Gopi and Lalit. We are taking again a break and coming back on the other side on to the story under our focus all these days, the Israel-Iran war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visits Soroka Medical Center after the deadly Iranian missile strike this morning.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च.
תראה את גבול הברזים, תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה
היית?
שמע פעם הבאה.
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה אשמע לך?
תבוא לתרד. מה?
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה?
תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead the American F-35 stealth fighters. The simple fact is that the United States is not offering us transfer of technology. It will not share the source codes, which we found a problem with the Rafales. We could not mount our indigenous beyond visual range Astra missiles and BrahMos cruise missiles on the Rafale because they did not share the source codes, and therefore we suffered. We paid a heavy price for these aircraft, and yet we could not use them to the optimum because of that unwillingness to share source code. So the same problem, and in a more magnified form, will come with the American F-35s. The American F-35s come with a huge price tag, number one. Number two, the maintenance costs are terribly high because stealth paint gets eroded. It has to be repainted, recoated. Most of the time these will be in hangar. And the other fact is that India will have limited control over these planes because America would want to know where they are being based, where they are being sighted. It will want oversight. Where they are being used, America will have vetoes. So it would be very strange if we can't use them against Pakistan. What the hell are we buying the planes for then? India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think
תראו את גבול הברזים, תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה זה וואלה?
תבוא לתרד. מה?
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה? תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead the American F-35 stealth fighters. The simple fact is that the United States is not offering us transfer of technology. It will not share the source codes, which we found a problem with the Rafales. We could not mount our indigenous beyond visual range Astra missiles and BrahMos cruise missiles on the Rafale because they did not share the source codes, and therefore we suffered. We paid a heavy price for these aircraft, and yet we could not use them to the optimum because of that unwillingness to share source code. So, the same problem and in a more magnified form will come with the American F-35s. The American F-35s come with a huge price tag, number one. Number two, the maintenance costs are terribly high because stealth paint gets eroded, it has to be repainted, recoated. Most of the time these will be in hangar, and the other fact is that India will have limited control over these planes because America would want to know where they are being based, where they are being sighted, it will want oversight, where they are being used, America will have vetoes. So, it would be very strange if we can't use them against Pakistan. What the hell are we buying the planes for then? India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are, after all, not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So, America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-upmanship, Pakistan had to suffer that humiliation, and the United States was not able to save it. Now for the United States to align itself back with Pakistan.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी एमडीएच का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown amka. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are, after all, not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So, America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-upmanship, Pakistan had to suffer that humiliation, and the United States was not able to save it. Now for the United States to align itself back with Pakistan, I think would be a tragic mistake. I am very certain that there is enough computation power in the United States, in its think tanks, in its administration, to work out the vis-a-vis value of relationships with India or with Pakistan, right? And if the United States chooses India over Pakistan, it's welcome to it.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome you watching the Thursday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sin. It started as a covert cyber war to shadowy proxy battle between Iran and Israel. Now it's turned out to be a full-blown war, and it's no longer limited to Israel and Iran, with the United States of America also stepping in. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we get you detailed ground reports not just from Israel and Iran, but also from Lebanon. Has Iran been isolated? What really happened to Iran's allies? All this and much more on this edition of This Is Exclusive. But up first, let me take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Israel releases video of IDF strike on Iran's Arak nuclear facility. Iranian missile strikes Soroka hospital in Beersheba in Israel, where IDF soldiers are undergoing treatment. The only channel with exclusive ground reports, Republic reports from Israel, Iran and Lebanon. No end to Air India's technical snags. Multiple flights delayed and cancelled, but Air India yet to give any answers. Ladies and gentlemen, as the smoke begins to clear over Tel Aviv, the scars of yet another cycle of conflict remains etched across the skyline. Overnight airstrikes, air raid sirens, and hours spent in bomb shelters have left this bustling city subdued and shaken. While much of the military focus has been on the southern and northern borders, Tel Aviv, Israel's economic and cultural nerve center, has not been spared. Civilian neighborhoods have borne the brunt of missile and barrages and retaliatory airstrikes. But the damage here is not just physical, it is economic too. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, a barometer of the nation's financial health, has felt the tremors too. The businesses remain shut. Public transport operates in disruption, and tourism, once a lifeline, has all come to a complete halt. Republic, as always, brings you what's happening on the ground through multiple exclusive reports. In a short while from now, we're also going to be joined by a parliamentarian from Israel.
So this is a residential area here. This is a residential area, and you can see the skyscrapers were the target of the Iranian ballistic missile, and it can still collapse. And see here also behind me, this is one of the residential buildings where people also living, and it's completely destroyed. See how much the damage is just from one rocket. All the skyscrapers around, all of them almost completely destroyed. And there is now some danger that it can collapse, and that's why we can't stay here. But just see how big that damage. Behind me you can see the targets of the Iranian missiles. You can see that those are skyscrapers where people are working, people are living, and tens of thousands of people should come here today in the morning. But fortunately, just before the day started, the work day, the rocket hit the ground, and that's why there are so many casualties as it could be if the rocket would hit just a bit after that. Israel just yesterday released the restrictions, and cafes, restaurants, offices, workplaces could be open if there is a bomb shelter that they can reach in time after the alert. There are several minutes to reach the bomb shelter. Here the security forces ask us all the time to leave the area because it's not safe. Those skyscrapers can collapse, and it's not stable here, and also there's underground metro stations, and that's why the ground also can maybe collapse. And how extensive is the damage just from one ballistic rocket of Iran. And you can see that Iran targets civilian residential areas, business areas, but there are no military targets here, no military bases, no strategic targets here. It's a residential area, and that's where Iranians are sending their missiles for almost a week. Here behind me you can see how extensive is the damage just from one rocket, and we need to go downstairs because it is really dangerous, and the soldiers tell us that we need to go more down. But see the damage to the skyscrapers here are around thousands of people supposed to go to a work. People are living here, people still in shock, and they are rescued. The army and the security forces try to understand how many people still could be survived, but now we need to go. Yeah, you see the police tell us that we need to go, and we are going together because it's dangerous here. And you can see that the police are nice. They just tell us for our life it's better to move because it's really dangerous to be there. You can see how extensive is here the damage just from one rocket.
In the past 24 hours, Israel and Iran have entered a dangerously escalated phase of the confrontation, with both sides exchanging intense missile and airstrikes. Iranian ballistic missiles struck multiple Israeli targets, including a hospital in Beersheba and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange building, injuring hundreds and damaging key infrastructure. In a swift and forceful retaliation, Israel also launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear and military facilities in Arak and Natanz and Isfahan, signaling a direct challenge to Tehran's nuclear posture. As far as the Israelis are concerned, they say that they are essentially trying their best to cripple Iran from carrying out their nuclear program. Iran, on the other hand, accuses Israel of targeting civilian areas. And as a result, they have now started targeting several of the civilian areas. But Iran maintains that these are not civilian areas where the attacks have been carried out, but rather they are military installations that have been targeted. Is that really the case? We're going to put out the both sides. On the ground, what's happening? On your screens right now, these are the last images coming in from the last 24 hours. It's a quick recap before I introduce my very special guest tonight who's joining us. An Israeli parliamentarian who has also questioned some of the decisions that have been made in the past. He has served as an officer in the Israel Defense Forces, and he's been part of the Golan Brigade. He was elected as the mayor of that was between 2010, Vieruhum, from 2010 to 2018. He was elected to the Israeli parliament in April 2019, and he served as a Minister of Strategic Affairs and Minister for Civic Issues. Joining us is Michael Bitton. Michael Bitton, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. It's a pleasure having you on our show. I want to straight away begin by asking you, there was a point in time that you were essentially urging the Iranians for a dialogue. This coming in from an Israeli parliamentarian, urging Iranians for dialogue. Does that really echo the sentiment of Israelis right now on the ground?
First of all, hello. The second, we are calling the people of Iran, not to the radical regime of Ayatollah that really became a threat and dangerous. And the most important thing that people who are watching us should ask themselves today, why the regime of Iran would like to destroy Israel. After all, Israel was involved in building Iran until 1980. We had good relations, we were involved there, and we were partners. Suddenly, radical Islamic regime that would like to occupy the world, that would like to implement radical Muslim philosophy against Israel, against the US, against the West in general. And why they hate us? No reason. Because we are here, they are there. The only reason they hate us is that they have ideology of destroying Israel. And that ideology is the nearest attitude to what the Nazis did. When you would like to hate someone without any reason. So we are fighting the regime. We are fighting the Ayatollah regime. But we would like to have peace and partnership with the people of Iran, as we used to have until 1980.
Mr. Bitton, you are also the same parliamentarian who has questioned this government with regards to some of the policies in place. Do you believe that Benjamin Netanyahu today is representing what every Israeli believes, or perhaps his coalition is also weakening at this point in time? Because Israel perhaps is also fighting a dirty war, as the German Chancellor has been saying.
We are united in this war. I will tell you why. We had the patience and we had the hope that there will be relations and peace with Iran. Iran planted the Hezbollah in Lebanon against us already in the beginning of the 80s. Iran planted the Islamic Jihad and Hamas in Gaza with money, with missiles, with weapons. And we got missiles on our towns. We are getting missiles on Sderot and missiles on Tel Aviv and missiles on Jerusalem over the last 40 years. We waited for the world. We waited that the world will understand that Iran is a threat, but no one acted. And now, when we didn't have a choice, when we saw that Iran is soon gonna get nuclear bomb, we had to act. So the people of Israel are united this moment, and we understand that this is existential threat on the existence of Israel for the future. And as you know, Iran was fooling the world. Iran was violating any agreement that they had with the international community and with the International Council of Atomic Energy. This regime planted terror all over the world. This regime created terror in Argentina, killing hundreds of Israelis. Thousands of Israelis died with the initiative of Iran over the years. We waited 40 years to this moment, and we could not and we cannot wait anymore. And why I tell you that? Because from the beginning of this war, they were sending on Israel more than 1,000 missiles. Where they were sending it? to neighborhoods, to houses, to hospitals, and they killed people. So imagine if they have a nuclear weapon. They will never hesitate to use it even this moment.
But Mr. Bittul, can I get a quick answer from you, because you are part of the parliament, and I need to get this answer from you. Today, Israel finds itself in a precarious situation, because if the United States of America does not really help you, you can't really complete your program. Can I then ask you, is the United States of America all set to join the war? Do you believe that it is just a matter of time before the United States of America joins hands with Israel and carries out what you are saying, the final lap of the war?
For us, the United States is a strategic partner. We have strategic partnership with many international states, including India and many others. The US did not say that they are not allowing us to attack Iran. They totally said that we have the right to attack and to protect ourselves. And surprisingly, all the world is united about it. You should listen to Germany, to French, to England, and to the US. They all saying that the Ayatollah regime is a threat to the world. And because of that, we are getting international support. And what the Chancellor of Germany said, we are doing the dirty work for the world. That's totally true. We don't know yet if America and the US will decide to join the war, but they are totally supporting the aim of preventing Iran from having nuclear and having missiles that can threaten the world.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Michael Bitton, for joining us on this broadcast. In fact, there is political unity on this entire issue, coming up the kind of backing that the Prime Minister has received. Let me now quickly take you through some of the areas that have been targeted by the Israelis. And this is what we know so far. Natanz nuclear facility in Isfahan, Iran's primary uranium enrichment facility, was the first day that it was targeted. Let's move on. Let's take you through the other details of areas that have been targeted. This is about approximately 15,000 centrifuges at Natanz that have been damaged. Then we have the Parchin military base in Tehran that's involved in nuclear weapons research and ballistic missile development that has been targeted. The third is the Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting headquarters, that is, again, the state broadcaster that was hit during a live broadcast, and the Israelis maintain that it was basically used by the IRGC. Arak nuclear facility this afternoon, it was targeted. Key facility that is related to Iran's nuclear program that has also been targeted. The Kermanshah air base and that area has been targeted by the Israelis. It's home to Iranian army aviation base, and also this is the place from where missiles were being launched. Known to support fighter aircrafts and ballistic missile launchers, Kermanshah air base has also been targeted by the Israelis. Now, this is three of the other places. Then you also have the Dimona nuclear facility that has been targeted. Apart from this, and the Weizmann Teaching Institute. These are some of the places that have been targeted. In fact, what we have also done, ladies and gentlemen, we have got you details of the places that have been targeted and how Israel has basically responded. Republic basically continues to expand its ground presence in Israel to bring you minute-to-minute update. In fact, this morning, several places that were essentially targeted, these included civilian areas. This report has been filed by my colleague Ratnadeep Chakrabarti.
I'm currently standing in central Tel Aviv, which has been very much affected with the Iranian ballistic missile. As you can see at the back, most of the buildings are charred and everything is destroyed. And if I could pan the camera to the other side, and I can show you, most of the buildings here have been completely destroyed and the areas have been evacuated. Most of the citizens, once are flooding a street with people flooding in, eating in the cafes around, looks very empty right now. And at this point of time, we could hardly see anyone on the street. What do you see right now? What was before?
Very popular hub for Olim and Israelis alike. There's lots of different internet cafes in the area that are now closed because of the damage behind us. We have what used to be a very normal streets. down there, there's a very well-known internet cafe that is now closed. And yeah, it's insane. I try not to walk here super often since Sunday because of all the gas and all the destruction, but eventually it's just unavoidable. So it's a bit freaky seeing it and just what it used to be. It used to be just a very normal place where you just see everyone, like as you walk down all the cafes, you see everyone you know, and now it's just totally different.
And let's focus on that building for a second. Can you show that building? That building is standing for sure, but that looks nothing like what it used to be.
No, standing, but it's just barely. I mean, thankfully a lot of the buildings in the area, as long as you're in the shelter in the miklach or the mamak or the mamad, whatever you go to when there's a siren, you'll be safe. But then you exit and it's just absolutely chaos and destruction. So it's there's tons of broken windows. It just looks bad.
We've got you all the reports from Israel. Crossing over now to Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, a high-stake moment has essentially unfolded in the volatile skies of the Middle East. In a bold tactical move, Israel thereafter launched a Hermes precision drone, reportedly that was aimed at a strategic site inside Iran's Kermanshah region. But Iran now claims that the Iranian air defense system successfully intercepted the incoming drones before it could reach its intended target. In fact, on your screens right now, we have basically accessed these images that have been released by the Iranian Foreign Ministry. And if we could just quickly take you through the full frame of that interception claim that has now actually been made by the Iranians. It's the Hermes drone that has been intercepted by the Iranians. In fact, they say that no damage has been inflicted on the Kermanshah airbase. Now, that's what the Iranians essentially claim, and that's the area, that's the drone that you see has been targeted by the Iranians. On your screens right now, these are the images, two sets of images that we have, one of the launch of this particular drone coming in from Israel, and that was the footage that was released by the Israelis. Now, Iranians have countered that by putting out another set of images, which basically shows that perhaps that particular drone was intercepted. Now, in terms of the areas that have been targeted by the Iranians, in fact, Iranians' attack on Israel. Now, they have essentially made these are the following claims that Iranians have made. Iran says that they have basically targeted Tel Aviv, the Kiryat district. Now, this is described as Israeli Pentagon. That's the headquarters that have been targeted. Let's move on. There are a few other areas that they have said that they have targeted, which is houses, government and military facilities, including the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv, that's the Kiryat district. In fact, they say that the oil refinery, the major economic hub that's in Haifa that they have targeted, that's the Bazan oil refinery that Iran has targeted using Fatah missiles and a few others that they've actually used. Soroka Medical Center, remember, that happens to be one of the biggest hospitals in Iran, situated adjacent to the IDF command center and the intelligence camp that was attacked this morning around 7 o'clock. Let's move on to the other hospitals that have been used for treatment of injured IDF soldiers was targeted by the Iranians this morning. And finally, you have Dimona nuclear facility, center of Israel's nuclear weapons program. Iran claims that they have also targeted the Dimona nuclear facility, and the existence of nuclear weapons that have been facilitated by Dimona serves as a deterrent against potential attacks. And the Iranians say that they have also been successful. Now, this was another place from where Republic had reported. That's the Weizmann Institute of Teaching Lab, leading research institute of the country's science and technology educational program that has also been targeted. Now, this is what the Iranians are essentially claiming. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another country which is of equal importance, that is Lebanon. And the very fact that Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, has been completely weakened in this entire process. It turns out that Lebanon has now told Hezbollah not to engage in it and to keep away from it. In fact, this is a report coming in from Beirut by Republic's reporter. Take a look.
So amid the Israeli-Iranian escalation, the official stand of Lebanon remains to maintain Lebanon neutral and at a distance from what's happening on. The President and the Prime Minister condemned the Israeli airstrike on Iran on a Friday, and beside of that they are working on keeping Lebanon away. However, Israel is still threatening Lebanon and it's attacking Lebanon almost each day, as the Israeli military spokesperson just announced today that their strikes will continue on Lebanon and on Gaza, alongside with the widespread strikes on Iran. By this, Lebanon is still a spectator, with a chance of and the probability of escalation from any time being distorted from the side of Israel.
Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of This is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Rakshit.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian and that would make the Americans unhappy, we can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are, after all, not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So, America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-upmanship, Pakistan had to suffer that humiliation, and the United States was not able to save it. Now, for the United States to align itself back with Pakistan, I think would be a tragic mistake. I am very certain that there is enough, computation power in the United States, in its think tanks, in its administration, to work out the vis-a-vis, value of relationships with India or with Pakistan, right? And if the United States chooses India over Pakistan, it's welcome to its choice. Pakistan is a failing state. It's almost a failed state. It's on the brink of failure. It is a state in economic chaos and turmoil. It is a state where the military overspends to the extent of destroying the state, destroying its economic basis.
תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה שמע לך?
תבוא לתרד.
איפה הלכת לי?
From your smart screens to your smart television, trending stories are breaking the internet. Today, students took a sigh of relief as they landed in the national capital from Iran under Operation Sindhu. They are grateful and they are relieved. Iran-Israel conflict entered day 7. Attacks and counter-attacks continue. We will show you the latest video of the destruction. And lastly, Trump's double-speak now stands exposed. His global peace promise has now failed. We have this and a lot more in this power-packed bulletin for you. I'm Akanksha Khajuria and you are watching Trending Today. While India has announced Operation Sindhu to evacuate Indian nationals from Iran as fear of an all-out Israeli military strikes on Iran has increased, the first batch of 100 students returned from Armenia to the national capital in the early hours of Thursday. These students, most of whom were studying at the Urmia Medical University in Iran, were the first. They were moved to Armenia with the help of the Indian embassy. Of the 110 students, 90 are reported to be from Kashmir Valley. Watch this. Parents and family members of several students were seen waiting anxiously at the airport for their children to, in fact, land there. Haider Ali, the father of a 21-year-old MBBS student, thanked the Indian government for bringing his son back, but expressed concern for those who are still stuck in Tehran. Another student, Yasir Ghaffar, said that he saw missiles and heard sirens in Iran. Watch what he had to say.
वो साउंड सम्राट को सुन रहे थे, बस वही और कुछ नहीं।
जी, क्या कहना चाहेंगे? अब आप भारत वापस आ गए हैं।
बस कुछ नहीं, खुश हूँ। अभी यहाँ पहुँचे, इंडिया पहुँचे, खुश हूँ बस।
जब आप गए थे तो जाहिर है कि सपने लेकर गए होंगे, अब कहीं ना कहीं उसको लेकर एक मन में कुछ चीजें होंगी, तो क्या कहना चाहेंगे अभी पढ़ाई को लेकर? अभी
वो सपने मैंने नहीं खोए हैं, अल्लाह साथ है, वो सपने इंशाल्लाह पूरे हो जाएंगे। बट इंशाल्लाह जब हालात ठीक हो जाएंगे फिर से हम ईरान जाएंगे।
जब ये सब हो रहा था तो जाहिर है कि घर से पेरेंट्स आपको कॉल कर रहे होंगे, तो काफी चिंतित रहे होंगे। क्या कुछ ऐसे वक्त में आपने फेस किया, थोड़ा अगर उसके बारे में भी आप?
हाँ, थोड़ा लग रहा था, थोड़ा परेशानी घर वालों को हो रही थी, ये तो कॉमन सेंस है।
Another student evacuated from Iran, in fact, was visibly relieved to be back home. Take a look at what he said too.
बहुत खुश हूँ, खुशी बयान नहीं कर सकता। अपने घर वालों को देखने के लिए खुशी जो है बहुत ज़्यादा है।
वहाँ के हालात को देखकर क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
वहाँ के हालात बहुत वर्स्ट हैं, वहाँ के लोगों के लिए भी। वहाँ छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, सब लोग हैं, हमारी तरह ही लोग हैं सब, वो भी सफ़र कर रहे हैं। वॉर अच्छी चीज़ नहीं है, कहीं भी हो दुनिया में वॉर अच्छी चीज़ नहीं है। बच्चे हैं, इंसानियत ही मारी जाती है, तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए। वी शुड प्रे फॉर देम। ओके,
कितनी खुशी हो रही है यहाँ पर वापस आके?
बहुत खुशी हो रही है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। अपने घर वालों से मिलेंगे, अभी मेरे फादर मेरा वेट कर रहे हैं।
In fact, ladies and gentlemen, just a while back, I spoke to one of the students who has been evacuated. Watch this. I'm joined by Mariam, who has returned from Iran. She was studying in Urmia University of Medical Sciences. I'm also joined by her family. Urmia, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगी, आप exactly कहाँ पे थे ईरान में? कैसा सिचुएशन था वहाँ पे जब आपको इवैक्यूएट करना पड़ा, और अब इंडिया आपको आके कैसा लग रहा है?
हमें इवैक्यूएट करा ऐसे कि हमें पहले एक दिन पहले मैसेज आया था हमारी एम्बेसी से। हमें बोला था कि आपको नेक्स्ट डे बस आएगी तो आपको रिलोकेट करेंगे अर्मेनिया में। तो हमें फिर बस के थ्रू रिलोकेट किया गया अर्मेनिया में। फिर हमने अर्मेनिया बॉर्डर क्रॉस किया, फिर हमें कैपिटल ले जाया गया अर्मेनिया के। फिर हमें एक दिन उधर स्टे हुआ और उसके बाद हमें अर्मेनिया एयरपोर्ट ले जाया गया फिर नेक्स्ट डे सुबह। और उसके बाद फिर वहाँ से दोहा एयरपोर्ट पे हमें ले जाया गया। फिर दोहा एयरपोर्ट पे प्लेन को रिफ्यूलिंग के लिए वहाँ पे वेट करना पड़ा। एक घंटा लगा होगा उधर, और उसके बाद फिर हमें दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट।
अब आप दिल्ली आ चुके हैं, आपको कैसा लग रहा है यहाँ पे अब पहुंच के? क्या आप मैसेज देना चाहेंगे इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को, क्योंकि ये पूरा एक ऑपरेशन था जिसका नाम ऑपरेशन सिंधु रखा गया था। अब आप वापस आ गए हैं, कैसा लग रहा है?
मैं और मेरे साथ जितने भी मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी के बच्चे हैं, हम सब बहुत ग्रेटफुल हैं हमारी गवर्नमेंट के, हमारी एम्बेसी के, और हम लोग बहुत खुश हैं, हम लोग बहुत रिलीफ हैं।
मैं एक क्वेश्चन आपकी मदर से भी पूछना चाहूंगी। रिपब्लिक टीवी से बात करने के लिए धन्यवाद। आपको कैसा लग रहा है? आपकी बेटी आ गई है, हम समझ सकते हैं कि बहुत ही टेंस सिचुएशन थी वहाँ पे जब ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट शुरू हुआ। आपको घबराहट हो रही होगी क्योंकि आपकी बेटी वहाँ पढ़ाई करती है। अब वो वापस आ गई हैं तो आपको कैसा लग रहा है?
बहुत अच्छा लगा है। वो बहुत वो था कि घबराहट तो थी, लेकिन बात होती थी इसलिए हम वो थे, मतलब घबराहट तो थी। ठीक है, अब बहुत खुश हैं कि वहाँ की एम्बेसी ने, इंडिया की एम्बेसी ने इतना अच्छा काम किया, हमारे बच्चों को इतने अच्छे से लेके आए। ये बहुत खुशी की बात है हमारे लिए, बहुत ज्यादा, कि हमारे बच्चे घर वापस आ गए।
मरियम, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, क्या अभी भी कुछ बच्चे, आपके कुछ फ्रेंड्स वहाँ पे उर्मिया यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मेडिकल साइंसेज के कुछ और भी बच्चे अभी फंसे हुए हैं? आपके अंदाजे से और कितने बच्चे वहाँ हैं जो उनकी अभी भी इवैक्यूएशन की जरूरत पड़ सकती है जिनको?
उर्मिया यूनिवर्सिटी में जितने भी इंडियन बच्चे थे उन सबको लाया, वो सब आ गए हैं इंडिया। 110 बच्चे थे, सब आ गए हैं, और वहाँ पे कोई बच्चा नहीं।
और बाकी एरियाज में आपके आसपास जितने भी नेबरहुड में थे, वहाँ कितने और बच्चे पढ़ते हैं?
तेहरान के बच्चे अभी उधर ही फंसे हैं, वो भी रिलोकेट हो गए हैं, लेकिन उनको भी हमारी एम्बेसी इवैक्यूएट कर लेगी, आई एम श्योर। और बाकी यूनिवर्सिटीज के बच्चे जहाँ पे खतरा ज्यादा है, उन बच्चों को रिलोकेट किया गया है।
अब आप आ गए हैं तो क्या आप एक मैसेज इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को देना चाहेंगे? ऑपरेशन सिंधु के अंडर आपको वापस लेके आए हैं, क्या कुछ कहना चाहेंगी?
मैं बहुत थैंकफुल हूँ हमारी गवर्नमेंट के, उन्होंने इतना क्विक हमारे लिए एक्शन किया। हम इतनी जल्दी आए, अच्छे से आए, सेफली आए। बहुत बहुत ग्रेटफुल है हमारी गवर्नमेंट के, हमारे एम्बेसी के।
थैंक यू मरियम, हमसे बात करने के लिए। आपकी मदर भी जिन्होंने हमें बताया कि क्या सिचुएशन थी और उनको कैसा लग रहा था। थैंक यू सो मच। As tensions in West Asia continue to rise, there comes another unprecedented escalation with Iran hitting Israeli hospital. Here are the visuals on your screen that you can see, and it's not just any hospital, it's the Soroka hospital in Beersheba, one of the biggest hospital in southern Israel.
תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
לא יאומן,
And speaking of unprecedented escalation, the Israeli Defense Forces IDF has shared a video of the nuclear reactor in the Arak, claiming that it was being used by Iran to create a nuclear bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on the screen, here's a video of IDF, and IDF has claimed that the inactive reactor has been neutralized earlier today. In fact, shortly afterwards, the International Atomic Energy Agency also issued a confirmation of the Israeli hit. And meanwhile, Israel's defense minister has now issued a harsh warning against Iran's supreme leader. He said that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei shouldn't continue to exist. His comment come after major Iranian missile strike on Israel's Soroka hospital in Beersheba. Speaking in Tel Aviv, he accused the Iran supreme leader of personally ordering attacks on the civilian targets and making the destruction of Israel his own mission. And now, viewers, amid these escalations, the Israeli Defense Forces have now launched Operation Kalavi, calling it a military effort unprecedented in its scope. This operation claims to implement carefully planned moves as they move forward to combat the threats against Israel. And hot off the plate and straight to your screens, this is the hot trends. Have a look. Chef Vijay Kumar, the mastermind behind Michelin-starred Sema in the New York City, has just bagged the Best Chef Award at the prestigious Dame Beard Awards. This is a huge deal, especially since it's his first nomination and the victory. Kumar's emotional speech is going viral on social media, and it's easy to see why. His journey is truly inspiring. From Tamil Nadu to the New York City, Kumar's story is a testament to the power of passion and hard work. Controversy is brewing in Maharashtra politics. Minister Bharat Gogavale is facing the heat from opposition parties over allegations of using occult rituals to win the elections and secure cabinet spots. A viral video showing him engaged in rituals has sparked a heated debate online, with many questioning the relevance of such practices in modern politics. The incident has also raised eyebrows about the minister's judgment and the priorities. Have a look. It looks like UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer had a bit of a diplomatic faux pas at the G7 summit. Instead of shaking hands with the South Korean president, he accidentally greeted the interpreter. The moment was caught on camera, and it's been making waves on social media. At this video of a Croatian student speaking fluent Hindi during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Croatia that has gone viral. Her heartwarming gesture, impressive Hindi, has been winning hearts across the social media. Watch this.
जी, मेरा नाम कार्ला है और हम सारी आ गए यहाँ प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का स्वागत करने को, और हम बहुत खुश हैं। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, सिर्फ हमारे लोगों के लिए नहीं, लेकिन पूरे देश के लिए। और जी, हम बस इंतज़ार कर रही है, अभी हम देखेंगे क्या।
And in a heartwarming moment, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was welcomed with the Gayatri Mantra and Vedic chants of the locals dressed in Indian attire. This was the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister. Now sharing a video of the welcome on X, PM Modi wrote, "The bonds of culture are strong and vibrant. Happy to see Indian culture has so much respect in Croatia." Watch this.
Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Om Tat Chayo.
A huge explosion lit up the Texas skies when SpaceX Starship rocket prototype went up in flames during a static fire test at the testing center. The incident, which occurred on Wednesday night, sent debris flying across the facility and forced an indefinite suspension of the launch preparations. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, and SpaceX confirmed that there were in fact no hazard to the surrounding communities as well. A pilot's emotional announcement on the Indigo flight from Chennai to Coimbatore melted passengers' heart online. Before takeoff, Krishnan announced that his grandparents and his mother were on the flight, with his grandfather flying for the first time. Krishnan jokingly mentioned that he had often sat in the backseat of his grandfather's TVS 50, but now it was his turn to give him a ride. His mother was seen wiping away tears, and the moment was undoubtedly special for everyone on board. Watch this.
நாங்கள் சென்னையிலிருந்து கோயம்புத்தூர் வரை செல்ல உள்ளோம். I have a special announcement to make. For pilot answer, apart from the hard work and the expenses and the countless hours of studying that we have to do, we really need a family that supports you. Very happy to announce that I have my family traveling with me today. தாத்தா பாட்டி அம்மா 29 ரோல உட்காந்துருக்காங்க. இன்னைக்கு நாட்டாவோட கேப்டன் நமக்கு தெரியாது. என் தாத்தா இதுதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் என்னோட ஃப்ளைட்ல டிராவல் பண்றாரு. எங்க இருக்கீங்க? என் தாத்தாவோட நடைவாட்டி டிஎஸ்பியில் உட்காந்து நான் போயிருக்கேன். டுடே இட்ஸ் டர்ன் டு
Now have a look at this recent viral video showing a group of Indian tourists performing Garba on the observation deck of Dubai's iconic Burj Khalifa that has gone viral on social media. It has ignited a firestorm of debate online and outrage across social media platforms. The footage shows individuals in seemingly matching yellow outfits dancing to the Bollywood song Chogada amid other visitors at the world's tallest building. While the participants seem to be enjoying themselves, the public reaction has been overwhelming or negative, sparking a broader discussion about the public etiquettes and cultural representation. A powerful volcano has erupted in Indonesia, sending ash cloud 11 kilometers high. This has caused the cancellation and diversion of several international flights, including an Air India plane that was bound for Bali on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Indonesia's geology agency has warned of potential lava flows triggered by the heavy rains, urging residents and the travelers to remain vigilant. However, till now, no casualty has been reported so far due to the volcanic eruption. And this is all we could pack for you in Trending today. Coming up next is the debate with Arnab Goswami. Good night.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
MDH की देगी मीरज, देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का। MDH की देगी मिर्च।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
תראו אנשים, תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה שמע לך?
תבוא לתרד. מה?
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה? תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי, כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की देगी मिर्च, देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का। MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India.
Israel releases video of IDF strike on Iran's Arak nuclear facility. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visits Soroka Medical Center after the deadly Iranian missile strike this morning. US President Donald Trump hosts Pahalgam Mastermind Asif Munir after he backed Nobel Peace Prize bid. AI-388 Delhi, Vietnam turned back mid-air due to expired emergency slide and gas canister meant for its deployment. Moderate turnout marked by polls in 5 assembly seats across Punjab, West Bengal, Gujarat and Kerala. Results on June 23rd.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime, रहो बेफिक्र।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
תראו את כולם רצים, תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה על
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה זה וואלה?
תבוא לתרד.
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה? תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead the American F-35 stealth fighters. The simple fact is that the United States is not offering us transfer of technology. It will not share the source codes, which we found a problem with the Rafales. We could not mount our indigenous beyond visual range Astra missiles and BrahMos cruise missiles on the Rafale because they did not share the source codes, and therefore we suffered. We paid a heavy price for these aircraft, and yet we could not use them to the optimum because of that unwillingness to share source code. So the same problem, and in a more magnified form, will come with the American F-35s. The American F-35s come with a huge price tag, number one. Number two, the maintenance costs are terribly high because stealth paint gets eroded. It has to be repainted, recoated. Most of the time these will be in hangar. And the other fact is that India will have limited control over these planes because America would want to know where they are being based, where they are being sighted. It will want oversight. Where they are being used, America will have vetoes. So it would be very strange if we can't use them against Pakistan. What the hell are we buying the planes for then? India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as a
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
We are about to reach our destination. We have covered 400 kilometers in just 5 hours.
Go all the way. You must be.
תראו את כולם רצים, תראו את האנשים, תראו את האנשים. תראו, פה נפל הטיל.
אתם לא מבינים מה הולך פה.
البنانين طاحن البنانين يا اخو.
הלך סורוקה, בראש של אמא שלי הלך סורוקה.
נפתלי.
איפה היית?
איפה היית?
מה?
שמע לי פעם הבאה.
מה ישמע לך?
תבוא לתרד.
איפה הלכת לי?
מה זה? תראו מה קרה לי לבית חולים. תראו. פה עמדתי, תראי כל הדלת עפה עליי, אליי. פה כל היום אנחנו יושבים, פה. תראי כל הבית חולים.
Reports have been received recently that Donald Trump has invited Field Marshal Asif Munir to the White House for lunch, and maybe he will also be attending the military parade in Washington. Now, all this is part of the United States attempts to pressurize India to play ball, attempts to pressurize India not to get too close to Russia, China, and to not purchase any Russian military equipment and buy instead the American F-35 stealth fighters. The simple fact is that the United States is not offering us transfer of technology. It will not share the source codes, which we found a problem with the Rafales. We could not mount our indigenous beyond visual range Astra missiles and BrahMos cruise missiles on the Rafale because they did not share the source codes, and therefore we suffered. We paid a heavy price for these aircraft, and yet we could not use them to the optimum because of that unwillingness to share source code. So the same problem, and in a more magnified form, will come with the American F-35s. The American F-35s come with a huge price tag, number one. Number two, the maintenance costs are terribly high because stealth paint gets eroded. It has to be repainted, recoated. Most of the time these will be in hangar. And the other fact is that India will have limited control over these planes because America would want to know where they are being based, where they are being sighted. It will want oversight. Where they are being used, America will have vetoes. So it would be very strange if we can't use them against Pakistan. What the hell are we buying the planes for then? India has to make a very considered decision, and the decision India has made is we can't kill our own homegrown AMCA. We will damn well go in for it, and as an interim measure, if we are forced, we may have to accept 1 or 2 squadrons of fighters. There the Su-57 offers a much better deal. They are prepared to share technology, they are prepared for local manufacture, they are prepared to transfer technology, share source codes. So, I mean, they are giving us all that we want, and yet just because they are Russian, and that would make the Americans unhappy. We can't mortgage our national interests in that manner. We can't be bullied in that manner also. I think America has to make allowance for India, has to act in its national interest and not just in the national interest of the United States. We are after all not the 51st state of the United States, and I don't think we ever will be. So America has used pressure tactics. It has used the India-Pakistan binary to try and apply pressure on India. I think it may be a mistake. No other country is so hated in India as Pakistan is. Pakistan has waged 5 conventional wars against India. Pakistan has waged continuous asymmetric wars against India for 30 to 40 years non-stop. It is the biggest pain in the neck as far as India is concerned. And if the United States wants to cozy up to Pakistan, it will be construed as a very hostile gesture in India. It would be back to the Cold War era when Richard Nixon had sent the 7th Fleet to prevent the breakup of Pakistan, to help India, to help Pakistan against India. Even the 7th Fleet could not save Pakistan then, and Pakistan was broken in two. For all its hubris, for all its one-up.
We don't just get you the headlines, we report on them. We get information from the highest level of sources. We get you news from the men in uniform, from those on the front. At Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how real reporting is done on the ground and in real time. The RSG Diploma course begins on June 30th. If you want to lead the story, start here.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
On the show tonight, trying to stay, very hard to stay relevant, Trump is pushing the US into West Asia's crisis. And Donald Trump shares lunch with the Pahalgam butcher, a US president backing the terror attack mastermind. And ladies and gentlemen, right at the very start, I'd like to say that of course we support Israel because of all that Israel has gone through, and for the way in which the Iranians, indirectly using the Hamas, tried to attack Israel and kill thousands of Israelis on October 7th. But I do not agree with the unilateralism of a man called Donald Trump. The world is in a dangerous position today because of Donald Trump and American unilateralism. America believes it can do whatever it wants, wherever it wants, kill as many people as it needs to or wants to, destroy cities, destroy homes, butcher people, join hands with dictators, support terrorist groups when needed, when it suits their strategic convenience, basically do whatever the hell they want to do. And we have to be extremely careful about allowing a man like Donald Trump to get away with everything. Now, the International Atomic Energy Agency have said that they have no proof that Iran is making a nuclear bomb. But that is the reason why America says it's going to bomb Iran. It's going to kill Khomeini. The Director General of the IAEA has said that we did not have any proof of a systematic effort to move into a nuclear weapon. Now, does that matter? I think it does. Because if you want to destroy a country, if you want to invade a country, if you want to carry out regime change, you need a better justification than that. And history proves that in 2003, when they invaded Iraq, President Bush claimed at that point of time from the US that Saddam was continuing to stockpile and manufacture weapons of mass destruction, and that Iraq was part of an international axis of evil along with Iran and North Korea. Later, the US report released in 2004 revealed that Saddam Hussein had destroyed his last weapons of mass destruction more than a decade ago, which means that 461,000 people died in Iraq from war-related causes, which were nothing but a lie, an absolute falsehood. Now, viewers, we'll have to be very, very careful. America does what it wants, and America is not India's constant friend at all. We remember when they tried to send a fleet in 1971 to stop us from liberating Bangladesh. We'll never forget that. When in December 1971, during the India-Pakistan war, they sent the 7th Fleet, led by the USS Enterprise, into the Bay of Bengal to threaten us. Now you have a man called Donald Trump in charge. Very unpredictable, very difficult to trust, impossible to believe. And by the way, who is America to do regime change whenever they want, at whichever point of time? Donald Trump's background is as a property broker. The world is not his personal property. He carried out, ladies and gentlemen, his country carried out regime change in Bangladesh. They threw out Sheikh Hasina. And today, Muhammad Yunus has taken over. The man who was felicitated by the Biden government, given the Presidential Medal of Honor in the United States, and today has destroyed Bangladesh in just a few months. So we have to be very careful about America's attempts to force regime change in different parts of the world. When different governments, different leaders do not do their bidding, that's when America says, let's change the regime. And what hypocrites they are. The same Donald Trump who said that North Korea better not make any threats to the United States, they will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. Later, he not only met Kim Jong-un, but even said that he had developed a very special bond with the North Korean dictator. The point I'm trying to say is, Donald Trump is a walking, talking crisis of an individual, and he will lead the world into a bigger crisis if he is not checked. Countries will have problems, battles will happen, disagreements will happen, but right now, if there is one problem the world has, that problem has a name, and that is Donald Trump.
I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction.
This is what US President Donald Trump said less than 24 hours ago. Then Israel woke up to these visuals this morning. Iran once again carried out overnight strikes on Israel, this time even hitting Israel's main hospital in Beersheba, causing unprecedented carnage.
This is the Soroka hospital in southern Israel. You could see behind me that building of the hospital was hit by a missile from Iran early Thursday morning. The top of the building is basically blown off, and you could still see smoke smoldering from the side of it hours later.
Today they struck Iran's major nuclear facility, the Arak heavy water nuclear reactor, dealing a major blow to Tehran's plutonium enrichment program.
We're targeting military sites. We're targeting nuclear sites. We're targeting missile sites. They're targeting a hospital. They're the arch terrorists of the world. They want to have nuclear terrorism, which will put the entire world under nuclear blackmail, and they would use these weapons. That's what the Ayatollah Khamenei says that he would do. He would use these weapons to wipe Israel off the map. Well, he's not going to. We're not going to let him.
Meanwhile, Putin has broken his silence, saying that the Iranians have not yet reached out for any support in the war effort. However, he did confirm Russian specialists were still working at Iran's first nuclear power plant in Bushehr.
Господин Тальбе, если позволите, я надеюсь, что это будет самым правильным ответом на ваш вопрос. Я даже обсуждать такой возможности не желаю.
In another major development, Chinese President Xi Jinping held a telephonic conversation with Russian President Putin over war in West Asia and the possible US involvement, with both the sides calling for mediation efforts. Amidst escalating tensions, US is sending mixed signals. On one hand, Trump dispatched his top diplomat from Turkey and special envoy to Syria to Beirut in Lebanon to meet the president. US Navy has dispatched USS Gerald R. Ford, US's biggest and world's most modern aircraft carrier, to Europe, bringing in a third carrier closer to the Middle East. In 2023, the Ford carrier was deployed in Eastern and Mediterranean to project strength against Hamas. US allies are desperately trying to bring Trump back to the negotiating table.
Les échanges que nous avons pu avoir avec les autorités iraniennes, leur message a été relativement clair. Il y a une volonté de reprendre les discussions, y compris avec les États-Unis, à condition qu'un cessez-le-feu puisse intervenir.
The big question remains: is Iran-Israel confrontation going to explode into a regional conflict?
Now we have two voices from Israel tonight. We have Neta Bar, she's the foreign desk editor at the newspaper called Israel Hayon, joining us from Tel Aviv. Neta, thank you very much for joining us, Neta. And that's Ariala Rosenthal, Director of International Relations at the Ashdod Municipality, live from Ashdod in Israel. Well, nice to have you with us, Ariala. We have Tatiana with us. We all know her very well-known face, senior journalist from Moscow. Thank you so much, Tatiana. Matt Klink is pro-Trump. He's a Republican strategist, live from the United States. Thank you, Matt. We have Democratic leader Ajay Jain Bhutoria. He's anti-Trump. He's joining us. He's former advisor to President Biden, joining us from California. We have Professor Asif Ramiz Daudi. He's a Middle East expert and faculty member of the King Abdul Aziz University, and he's joining us from Patna. Thank you, Professor Asif. I hope you can hear me. And we have Syed Babar Ashraf Kechauchvi, who is totally pro-Iran and pro-Ayatollah Khamenei, and he's the Secretary General of the All India Mohammadi Mission. So we have different points of view. We had a statement, Tatiana, and I want to start with you. The statement is from the International Atomic Energy Agency, which says that there is absolutely no proof that Iran is systematically making an effort to move into a nuclear weapon. This is a very important statement by its Director General Grossi. What implication do you think it will have at this time of the conflict?
I think, Arnab, that we need to understand that within the Israeli-Iran conflict and this generally the conflict, I mean, not just this escalation, we need to understand that as President Putin clearly said today, you know, that it will be down to Tel Aviv and Tehran. I don't believe that any statement by Mr. Grossi at this point will make any difference whatsoever, because first of all, Israel has already carried out the attack and Tehran has already responded, and now we're in the repercussions of this. Anything that is said by the International Atomic Energy will be countered, and I do believe that, you know, we all know that Mossad, for being, you know, quite thorough in their investigations and in their operations. So I do believe that anything that Mr. de Grossi says will be countered from Tel Aviv and from Prime Minister Netanyahu's administration with counterproof.
Okay, now let me take that to the others. Let me take it to Professor Asif Ramiz Daudi. You see, the fundamental premise why America says that it will flatten Tehran is because they are saying Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Now, if this statement has come from the IAEA that they have no proof that Iran is making a nuclear bomb, what impact will that have? Even at this stage, Tatiana says it will have no impact. What do you think? Professor Asif?
Well, Arnab, it reminds me of what happened in Iraq years ago, and the same kind of situation, and the doubts are there. And what is happening today because of this, especially when Israel interfered in this, after Gaza, after Palestine, and now because of this nuclear deal, because of this only, Israel attacked Iran, and there is a retaliation. And I believe this escalation is not in a good taste, especially for the regional peace and security. And now, because they are going to do something for this reason that's there in the question that you asked, I'm not sure if this is going to happen, if they are going to find something there or not, but there is a proper way of doing things and right timing for this. When you started your debate, Arnab, you started with the attack on 7th October, which I personally condemn, and I think it should not have happened. And there is a connection because you started this debate from there. So I want to link it from there to this part. Like here, after that attack, when tens of thousands of Palestinians, especially in Gaza, women, children, and many innocent people were also killed. So when there were attacks on hospitals, and today in your report, when I was watching the reports and statement of the Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that Iran attacked the hospitals while they are not attacking this. Okay, I'm not going to go into this, what is right or what is wrong, because there are many narratives going around and the world is watching, and I have no direct proof of this. But what I'm saying, if they have the feeling that the hospitals should not be attacked, then this should also be applied when they attack the Palestinian people in Gaza. If you have the clips of those attacks when lots of thousands of Palestinians were killed.
See, it's beyond that. I feel to some extent, yeah. But Professor Asif, we can't build up the entire history right now. I want Neta Bar to respond, Ariala to respond from Israel, but we can't go through now 20 years of history. We are on a precipice. Either we reconcile, and if Iran is not working on a nuclear bomb, then let people come in, verify, check, or neutralize if required. To deny, But at the same time, to carry out hostilities are two double-faced actions, if I may say so. Nita, do you feel there is any possibility of a resolution? A. B. If I say to you, Nita, that I would trust Netanyahu over Trump. Nobody can trust Trump. I mean, he likes keeping the world guessing. Netanyahu is more steady and more predictable. But my concern is it in Netanyahu's hands now anymore?
Well, what I have to say is this. I don't want to make this about the type of leadership Donald Trump is putting forward in the world. I can say that personally, I do not like his decision. I did not like his decision to invite the Pakistani military chief to Washington. I think it's strange and unfitting. I did not like the fact that he took credit for mediating between Pakistan and India, which he probably didn't. But I have to say that this thing is more of an sort of an Israeli thing, because for us, it's an existential threat. We cannot live in a Middle East where Iran has a nuclear weapon. And even if there is the slightest chance that they're working right now on a nuclear weapon, and I spoke with people in the IDF, people in the intelligence department of the IDF, and there is evidence to show that while they were not putting the bomb together just yet, they have all the parts and they are ready to do so, which is why Israel attacked. I think that's the only thing that Israel sees as a must in this situation. And we acted, and we would act without American support. We would act without American intervention. And I think that if America would intervene, we hope that it will be in order to stop Iran from having nuclear weapons. This is very different from what we've seen in the Iraq war. There is no plan or no strategy to invade Iran. Nobody wants to invade Iran. And even when we talk about regime change, it's up to the Iranian people to rise up and change their regime. Nobody's going to do it for them, and I hope they will do so, because it's a corrupt and cruel and religious regime which should not exist. But saying that nobody is talking about invasion of Iran, and the only goal in Israel's perspective is destroying Iran's nuclear program. And if Iran will come with a reasonable plan to show that it has no nuclear weapon, or to show that it has dismantled all nuclear facilities, then I think Israel will be willing to accept it and stop the attack. But we haven't seen anything like it. Donald Trump gave them a lot of time for talks, and they had a proposition, an American proposition, which could have enforced a situation in which it will be proven beyond reasonable doubt that they don't have nuclear weapons, which they rejected vehemently. And counter.
No, but again, I get that. Nita, see, we're dealing with a man called Donald Trump. I mean, the whole world has problems with him. Even his supporters have in different degrees. And when he is making it look like a game of digital chess. He's not looking serious. Matt, what do you think? I have Matt with us. I have Ajay Jain with us in California. When he says, I'm not looking at a ceasefire, Matt, I'm looking at better than a ceasefire. Anything that is not a ceasefire is continued bloodshed. What does it mean? Does it mean occupation? Does it mean regime change? What do you think he means?
If we know anything about Mr. Donald Trump, which is, again, I told you I dislike his foreign policy. If we learned anything about it, that he is not willing and he does not have the support to pay a large price in either American blood or American money. If you go for anything that is
that's it, Nita.
It will be probably
let me throw that same question to Matt. Matt, what do you think?
Thank you for allowing me to get a word in here. Look, I think that Donald Trump right now, I know that I can tell you're a real big fan of the president. I know that Donald Trump at this point has thoroughly supported Israel in its efforts to denuclearize Iran. Israel has been very, very successful. Donald Trump is weighing plans of whether America would get involved to take out these centrifuges at the Fordo enrichment facility. However, he hasn't made up his mind yet, and I know it might be frustrating, but it would be stupid for Donald Trump to outline his plans for the world's news media, which ultimately would get telegraphed back to the mullahs. I can tell you, though, what is a couple things are true, and well, again, your hatred of President Trump, it can't overtake the fact that Iran is the greatest source of terror in the world. They promote instability in the Middle East. October 7 was largely driven by Iran proxies, and the fact that Iran sat at a negotiating table for 60 days and was anything but serious, and on day 61, Israel went on the offensive against Iran. Bravo for Israel for making the world a safer place. And that being said, America does not have the tolerance for regime change. Donald Trump has been very, very vocal on that. And I agree with the previous speaker who said that it's on the Iranian people to realize that the theocratic government in Iran, if they want to have regime change, they need to make it happen, but it's not going to be American boots on the ground.
Yeah, see, no, Matt, I don't hate anyone. I find Donald Trump amusing, which is a different sentiment from hate. Everyone finds him amusing. You also, I'm sure, find him amusing. He's a great source of entertainment. But I'm only saying historically here that in the past, see, we must never undermine the other side. Even Tatiana would agree with me that even Putin should...
the other side?
Now let me explain to you what the other side is. Let me explain to you. See, Americans should not be arrogant. Americans cannot afford to be arrogant. See, what happened to the Bush administration? Let me take you historically back a little bit into American history.
Oh, I know my history probably better.
Then let me. I'm sure you think you do. I'm sure you think you do, and nobody can stop you from thinking that way. But let me tell you a few things. You see, the Bush administration had described the Iraq invasion as a cakewalk, expecting a very quick triumph within 24 hours. Okay, now Trump's rhetoric suggests a similar confidence, okay, with talks of quote-unquote swift deployment. Now, in the war that followed, 8 years and 9 months of combat operations, 4,400 American soldiers died, 32,000 soldiers were wounded, and 100,000 Iraqi civilians had died by 2011. The US at that point of time conservatively spent $3 trillion at the war. Right? At the peak of the war, 170,000 US troops were deployed in Iraq. Today, you have 40,000 around the Middle East. Okay? And Pentagon reported 34,000 insurgent attacks in 2005 alone. The point I'm trying to make is this, that Trump came on a promise of no war and peace. I am sure at some level, the American people, given the various challenges in America, and Trump himself, will have to reconcile himself to the possibility that things can get stretched. Things can get stretched.
Please?
So Ariella, you want to get in on that? Go on.
Yes, I want to say a couple of things that I'm listening here in the debate. First of all, for decades, Iran has conducted clandestine acts of hostility against Israel in every possible domain, if it's by land, air, and cyberspace, and more. And also, it has, of course, wielded Iran's proxy network of terrorists and armed groups like the Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Hamas. So for us, for the state of Israel, this is actually a war for the existence of the state of Israel. Unlike other countries in the Middle East and in the world, this is a real threat on the people of Israel and on the state of Israel. So with all my favor to all the other countries around the world, and of course to America, that is our closest ally, but Israel at the end has to do what it has to do. It has to cut the head of the snake. And as we did this unique and outraging operation, at the end, it's for us that will deal with the Iranian regime. And
Ariella, you have absolutely a right to do that, and you know very well that there is no greater supporter of Israel's right to fight back than me, and I've done many hundreds of programs on this. My position on terrorism is absolutely clear. I am just wondering, it's a curiosity in my mind, whether the Americans know what they may be getting into, because No complications and no disrespect here. 622 days since the war, 53 hostages are still there with the Hamas. In today's world, I think Trump may be wrong in assuming there is anything like a short war. If after Iraq, after Vietnam, after Afghanistan, if America still thinks there's something called a short war, they've got their history wrong. So there is a, and I don't think the American people will stand there solidly behind Trump. He may want this for the midterms which are coming in, right? What do you think, Ajay Jain from California? What do you think?
Absolutely, Arnav. I agree that Trump was voted into power for bringing peace, and he said he promised he will end the Ukraine war and war with Gaza. He completely failed, and 60% of Americans do not support the U.S. getting into war with Iran at this point of time. As you said, we have to learn from the history. The getting into Iran and Afghanistan war cost us $6 trillion, 7,000 U.S. troops, and repeating this mistake in Iran is reckless. Americans want jobs and healthcare, and he has failed in trade deals. And all,
Said Babar.
He's saying that he's going into war because Iran is supporting one of the biggest sponsors of terrorism, which it is, and I strongly support Israel. But at the same time, he's hosting on the same day Pakistan Asif Munir, who is another biggest sponsor of terrorism, into a White House lunch. So how does that work? I mean, he's failing his foreign policy completely, destroying his relationship with one of the strongest partner, India, which is it needs to counterbalance China by siding with the terrorist country Pakistan, and there's no clear interest for U.S. to get involved in this war. Iran does not pose direct threat to U.S. soil. By getting into the war, it will create a situation where all the U.S. 40,000 plus U.S. soldiers which are
I'm also,
in the Middle East.
but Abhay, I'm also concerned. I'm also curious to know what Russia and China will do. I would be concerned to see what they do, Tatiana. Today, the Russian Foreign Ministry has told Israel to stop attacks on a nuclear plant where Russian specialists work. Russia works closely on nuclear plants in Iran. Is Russia and China just going to sit there and do nothing? Absolutely nothing, right? As this escalates. Tatiana, what do you think? Yes.
The president has already said that he's in contact with both Tehran and Tel Aviv. He's in contact with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I believe, especially judging from the massive rallies against Netanyahu back when he was just elected, with the laws that he tried to pass and passed actually, that Israeli people know that it's quite a close connection. So I do believe there is information that is being exchanged there. But let's please come back slightly to reality about Donald Trump engaging in a war on Iranian soil. Again, this conflict is and will be down to Tehran and Tel Aviv. In the past decade, the US, even in Ukraine, which you rightly mentioned, it doesn't act directly, it acts through proxies. It will never go into actual war on Iranian soil. I don't believe that's we've heard Donald Trump make all sorts of statements. And you know that he is brilliant in his manipulation of social media. Sometimes it gains him favor, sometimes it gains him just a lot of media attention, but he does that. He's been doing that since his first term, and we all know that. So
but Tatiana, when the Russian President Vladimir Putin offered to mediate, you know how rudely Trump responded. He said, thank you, but you mind your own business. Essentially, he said that. Let's talk about Ukraine first. So here is a person who's unilateral in nature. I believe in multilateralism. I'm sure Russia believes in multilateralism, but he doesn't.
I completely disagree with you, Arnab, in saying that he is unilateral in nature. I believe that the Democratic Party is much more unilateral than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just much more abrupt and direct about what he is trying to put forward as a message. But he is much more negotiable with than any person from the other side. which we've seen, we've seen Joe Biden and the people in his administration be completely unilateral in every situation concerning, foreign policy. So I disagree with all of, every single emotion that is that Donald Trump evokes in me personally. You can't say that he's unilateral. He's actually somebody that people can and other parties can talk to, despite his great announcement that he's going to end one war in one day, occupy or whatnot, bomb Tehran to the ground. He's never going to do that.
Which is why, precisely, Tatiana, strangely, I completely agree with you, which is why, I mean, here is a man, Tatiana, I think he's unpredictable, but I also think he is foolish, because one day he says that I'm going to destroy and kill Kim Jong-un, and the other day he flies down to Singapore to meet him, so I don't take him seriously. I just want someone like Neta to tell me that